Congressman Allen West is not giving up. He is taking his election fight to court again. Congressman West joins us. Good evening, sir.
Good evening. How are you doing, Greta?
Very well. So I understand that you filed a complaint in court that you want a full recount of early ballots in St. Lucia County. Is that correct, sir?
That is correct, Greta, because this goes back to election night about 1 o'clock in the morning when all of a sudden there was a 4,400 vote swing in early voting. At the time, I was ahead by about 2,000 votes, and then it swung over to my opponent to 2,400 votes. He was ahead. And what we were told was that the St. Lucie County Supervisor of Elections decided to go back in and recount early votes that had already been counted. So we have been asking for a complete recount of those early votes, but there have been many other voting irregularities. We have an individual, Ms. Gertrude Walker, who was locking precinct doors and counting votes behind those doors. We have discrepancies with the amount of people that logged in to vote, with the amount of ballots that were actually submitted at some precinct locations. She's been in violation of the Florida Sunshine Law because this past weekend she had a behind closed doors meeting of the canvassing board, did not put out a public notice, and so there was no transparency. And then even when she told people she was going to do a full early vote recount this past Sunday, she did a partial vote, which is not in congruence with any type of Florida statute whatsoever. So we've got a series of irregularities, missteps, and the math is not adding up, Greta.
And as I understand under Florida state law, if there's a 0.5% margin, that there is an automatic, or there's a recount by Florida law, but that the differential between your opponent and you is 0.58, so that you just missed that cutoff to force the recount. Is that correct?
That is correct, and that happened this past Sunday when she did the partial recount, and we were able to pick up a total of 535 votes, and she was the one that went in and selected the day she wanted to count, and then she all of a sudden cut it off abruptly. And once again, this is not about me. This is not about my opponent. This is about the integrity of our electoral process and doing what is right by the voters of Congressional District 18, especially there in St. Lucie County.
All right, so you filed, your opponent's going to respond, I assume, and then you have some sort of hearing. Do you have any sort of hearing date? Because you guys are rapidly approaching, well, I guess you have some time until early part of January, but can you give me some sort of timetable?
Well, the hearing date has not been given, and the most important thing is we do not feel that there should be a certification of this election until we have that complete recount of early votes. Now, we do know that the Secretary of State for Florida has sent down some individuals to audit the St. Lucie County Supervisor of Elections there because, as I said, the numbers are adding up. As a matter of fact, there were some almost 1,000 votes that just kind of dropped off of the count based upon what she did in this partial recount on this past Sunday. So there's a lot of questions, Greta, and I think that the most important thing is if the people in America and the people in Congressional District 18 cannot have trust and confidence in the electoral process, then we're going to lose a sense of who we are as a republic and the rule of law, and that's what we're standing up for. The results can end up where they may, but I want to make sure that the 22 years I spent in uniform to support and defend the Constitution of this country, I continue to do that in service to the people.
Congressman, thank you, sir. We're going to be watching this, see what happens. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Always a pleasure.